Outstanding. Pow!
1, 2, 3. FES16.com. FES16.com.
Camera's not on yet, right?
Huh?
The camera's not showing nothing yet.
No, why? Enzo.com. Am I even going? I don't even hear me. Oh, there we go. There we go.
Enzo.com. 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 Enzo.com.
Greetings, poopies.
Good morning on this Friday.
Good morning on this Friday. Thank you for that, Parker. Wow, you were all ready to say good morning.
Well, actually, on this faithful Friday.
This faithful Friday. And that was, you came up with that one.
That's kind of why I wanted to say it.
Yeah, you're awesome. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you, buddy. How you doing this Friday? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Yeah? Are you?
Ready to get to work, too.
Ready to get to work?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. We're going to be, we'll be at work soon, huh? Be at work soon. So, got a lot in the news today, right?
Yeah. Well, we're going to be covering this probably for the next, I guess it's probably, they're saying on the things about probably a couple weeks or whatever. So we'll probably be doing little recaps over the time talking about some bad news, like the J6 committee hearings.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we're going to.
I think it's going on for a few weeks, if I remember them, what they were saying or whatever last night. Mm-hmm. I think that the head of the committee, he said that it was going to be a couple weeks, over the next couple weeks. So
it's going to be the next couple weeks?
Yeah, that's what. If I can remember him saying it right, he did say the next couple of weeks you'll be hearing from, all the witnesses or the testimonial people, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean,
we're going to discuss why we're also going to discuss why the J6 Commission is like a poorly produced podcast, even worse than this one.
Yeah.
That's what we're going to talk about. Picture all the people on the dais, all those idiots, and their whatever their little PowerPoint presentation says, and the people they have there. It's all to elicit emotion, and it is a fugazi. You know what I'd like to do right now? I would like to get my buddy from church on before we talk about this is what we're going to do. Let's do the So we're going to talk about J6. We're going to talk about transgender Lutheran pastor who resigned over racism, height of hypocrisy. And then we're going to talk about good news. We're going to talk about, what are we going to talk about?
What was Mass over?
What was Mass over again? What was Mass over? There's a lot of things going on in Mass, you know?
Did we pre-party a little too hard?
No. I've been good.
Can't remember Mass?
I've been very, very good. What was this? The point of mass. The point of mass. Maybe we could talk about that right now, actually. Maybe this is a good time to talk about that before we get into the whole show and we can talk about what's going on with mass.
Okay.
Today's mass, the Friday of the 10th week in ordinary time. And it says that God insists on silence as the means to communicate the depths of himself. Did you hear that? Talk about Jesse Lee Peterson. How's this for silence?
Not on camera, you idiot.
There's nothing on camera.
I know.
There's nothing on camera.
Oh.
This is the sound of incense being burned. Anyway, God insists on silence as the means to communicate the depths of himself. There was a tiny whispering sound. In silence, we learn to put away the divisive tendencies of sin. We become like the psalmist. Of you, my heart speaks. You, my glance seeks. The Lord's teaching about losing one of your members reveals the all-surpassing worth of holiness compared to momentary pleasure. For we are all made for deep and lasting union with God in the land of the living. So that's a little idea what we're going to be talking about today. Let's do our
Let's do the creed.
Let's do the creed. Once we do the creed, we're going to take a phone call from my buddy from church. Let me just tell him I'm going to call you in about 5 minutes. Please answer. He told me the awesomest thing. I couldn't believe it. Here's what he said. I'll give you the little teaser. He goes, you know what I did as an occupation? And I said, nope. What did you do?
Wait, can I take a random guess at this just for fun?
Sure. Yeah.
Landscaper.
Okay. You get 3. That is, and I'll say, no, it's not. I mean, it's, how am I going to say it's warm or cold? You get 3. That is not correct.
Just
Keep
3.
going.
Okay. Bank teller.
Oh my God. Horrible. You're a horrible.
I don't know.
One more try. Just pull it out of your hind end. One more try.
I don't know. Scientist then?
Very, very close, my friend.
Biologist maybe?
Very, 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 very close. Very, very,
Chemist?
very, 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 very close. Very, 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 very.
Don't tell me a
very,
physics
very
person.
Close.
Or like aerospace engineer or something.
Very, 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 very. No, he's a surgeon.
Oh, okay.
He's a surgeon.
Okay.
And what I thought was very interesting is because I go, man, I would love to talk to you about, we're getting a call. Hope it's not about t-shirts. Hold on.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, this is Bobby. How can I help you? Can't hear it.
This is FBI.
What?
Just calling to check up on you. This is the Feds.
Oh my God, you scared me.
What's up, man?
Are we got some on there? Can you put that up?
Yeah.
I don't even hear them. Up? Hello?
Can you hear me?
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. And make sure it's up
What's
at
up,
a
man?
reasonable amount. So, we don't have to share your name or anything like that if you don't want to. We could say whatever just so you know. Okay. We're about to do our
Creed.
creed.
Yeah.
And we're going to make a phone call because I was just about to say, we're going to make a phone call once we do the creed.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to do, we're going to talk to a guy who I met at church because I go to mass every single day.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is he's a surgeon. And I thought that was wild because I was like, most doctors and most scientists totally don't have faith. What makes you different? I was like, I would love to have you on my podcast. And so I'm going to call him as soon as we do this thing. But hey, how about this? Do you think that I can call you back?
Yeah, Yep.
after that, and then because we are going to be doing the bad news, and we're going to be talking about J6 and how that's basically it's like a poorly produced podcast. The Commission, it's like worse than this podcast. Okay, I'm going to call you back, and maybe we'll get some of your insight on that. I think that'll be valuable.
Sounds good, man.
All right, bye.
All right.
Okay. Let's do now I updated now just one thing, just so it's not so clunky. Parker, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of the press. I don't know. How it's got to flow. Should it say freedom of expression, freedom of the press, freedom of religion? No. Should it say freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of the press? I think that sounds the best. You got to shift it around. You're not going to say it right. I have it shifted on my end.
And
I'm going to send it to the virtually too. I'm going to change that virtually part. Do you want me to send this to you first?
Yeah.
Text it?
Yeah.
Tell my cousin. Shut up, Francis. Demanding Francis. Okay, let's do it. Did you get it?
Mm-hmm. Where at the beginning? Oh, there.
All right, ready? Here we go. Oh, that's right. I was going to put this in here, wasn't I? I'm going to start putting the artwork in there.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Ready?
Yep.
I believe that the freedom of speech is a universal international right, that all opinions shall be tolerated, regardless if agreeable or disagreeable. I believe in the First Amendment of the United States Constitution, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of the press, the right of the people to peaceably assemble, be it physically or virtually. I believe that truth is non-binary and can be objective, subjective, normative, or complex. There are no eternal facts, as there are no absolute truths. For us creators and for our content, great thinkers have philosophized, and our founding fathers debated the dangers of cancellation and censorship for centuries. And no individual shall be indemnified of criticism or mockery, for there is honesty in jest. I pledge that the ideas I share are my own and are not the expressed opinions of any violent criminal organizations. The only group I represent is the human race. I pledge to perform in a professional, dignified manner and to not bully, harass, or slander my fellow human creatures, to refrain from hate, anger, sedition, vulgarity, harassment, pornography, cautioning that sarcasm can at times be misinterpreted as such. I believe in the counterspeech doctrine, that the remedy to negative, harmful speech is more positive, helpful speech, not enforced silence. That no person shall be denied access to social media, which is the marketplace of ideas and today's town square. That Section 230 privatizes communism, and that content creators who have broken community guidelines in the past deserve retribution because we are all constituents of the human party and humans are fallible. Amen. All right, that was great. Good job, buddy.
Also, we got to add one more thing in that. Remember,
can you also add some music next time when I put I'll put the thing there.
Yeah.
You do. We got to figure out some kind of music.
Right, but we still have to add in about the guest.
Yes. And also, we'll just say off the cuff.
Mm-hmm.
At times, we'll have guests on.
Mm-hmm.
They have freedom of speech.
Yes.
We're not going to monitor their speech, but we also are indemnifying ourselves of anything they say.
Right.
we ourselves are being indemnified of things they say.
I
Anyway,
think that's right. Yeah.
let's make the phone call to my buddy from
Yeah.
the doctor.
I guess I would call it the interesting person.
He's
right
Dr.
now.
Bob.
I hate to say it like that.
Dr. Bob.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, I can hear you. What's up, Dr. Bob? How are you, sir?
Oh, wonderful. I just got an implant in my mouth from a tooth that they pulled out. Took a year to get it, you know.
Wow. Well, thank God that you have the implant and everything's good. And,
Yes,
and
everything's
just
good.
to give everybody really quick and not to get too crazy personal, but this guy goes to my church and he is a regular day goer just like myself. And so we are buddies now, and he told me today after mass that he was in his former life, or is currently practicing, I'm not sure, but he is a doctor of medicine, actually a surgeon. And I thought that was very interesting because of the dichotomy of usually you hear of people who are like scientists or doctors or things that are very worldly practices. And maybe it's not true. I don't know. Maybe I just have a false statistic built up in my brain, but my assumption would be that many would be not have faith. You know, they would just be kind of more worldly and stuff. Maybe even take like the secular or atheist approach. What say you, Dr. Bob?
Well, I graduated medical school in mid '80s, and I was taught by the medical people community in the World Health Organization, and I did a lot of offshore lecture, being taught by these men, about 300 different experts. So I learned a little different things, different than the United States. The United States doctors are usually being followed the pharmaceutical protocol, and that's how they get their funding and learn a lot more about specific things in medicine. And I spent, when I graduated medical school in the mid '80s, I spent most of my time, almost all of my time in surgery. And when I was going through medical school, I prayed to God and I said, well, I want to be a little country doctor in a farm country and raise a family. Well, I raised a family, my wife and I. We have a bunch of kids. And God said, no. You go to the trauma center. I said, what? I don't want to go to trauma center. Ended up spending probably close to 30 years in trauma, doing a lot of trauma in the middle of the night with the surgeons that bring other trauma people in, and was on call. It was quite an experience, and quite a learning experience, and it brought me closer to God. When I saw all the things that were going on, I said, Lord, you got me in the right spot. So that's it in a nutshell. But I'm retired now for about 12 years, and I'm enjoying life.
Wow.
That's it.
So did you, when you tapped me on the shoulder when we first met, you asked me if I had gone to Catholic school, and you said that you could just tell. Did you go to Catholic school as well?
Yes, I did. I graduated at Catholic University also. And then when I was growing up and graduated, I guess in my 20s, I said to the Lord, I says, how come people are not in church anymore? Our Catholic University had a chapel and everybody had mass. I mean, they had priests would come and say mass at noon, and I'd run out there and say mass in Latin, and I really enjoyed it. That was a big step in my spiritual life. I started going into the church, and then we lost some of the children when we were married for 50 years now, my wife and I, and we had some trauma there, and that brought me even closer to God. And so
I'm
God
sorry.
no, that's all right. They're in heaven. and God started tapping me on the shoulder more and more as I started into my medical career. So that's where I'm at right now.
But you said to me that you actually would pray in the medical room.
Well, let me tell you a story. You'll love it. There's about 100 stories I could tell you right now, but the one I wanted to really, the Lord put on my heart is that this little baby was a year and a half old or so, and he was in a car seat, and the parents had the top down. The car was in an accident, flipped upside down. The kid came in the middle of the night.
Ooh.
So the top of his head was pretty much crushed in, and we were in the middle of the night trying to help this kid survive, and one of the one of the medical people says, "No, this kid's not going to make it." I said, Tom, the old additive, when you don't know what to do, you just keep on doing surgery. Well, when we finished up, of course, I prayed for the kid underneath my breath, I guess you would say, and Lord was listening, and the kid, we fixed the bones and put it all back together, cracked egg, and it ended up the kid left the hospital in 6 weeks. He was doing fine.
Wow,
nice,
a miracle.
Now, were a lot of other doctors like that too? Did other doctors share? Did they have faith as well? Some of your colleagues and stuff. Can you tell me about that? Some insight, maybe.
Yeah, I had most of my friends were foreign graduates in the places I've been in, the many hospitals, and they have seen a lot, and they've been persecuted, and we became good friends, and most of them have gone through their journey in a very difficult time. So they're the believers. They trust in Jesus, and that always inspired my trust. Most of the medical schools in the United States are being taught and nourished by the pharmaceutical companies, which they have the money to take care of their people. So if you're a believer in Jesus Christ, well, that's not a popular item especially in surgery. But I've worked with a lot of them that believe in God, but I'd say the majority don't even believe in God.
And that's so crazy. Like I can't even picture leaving my life up to somebody who doesn't believe in God. It's sad. And I've been through a lot of death and stuff. My father passed away. He had glioblastoma multiforme, and I remember the doctor, the surgeon, he yelled at me when I brought up marijuana. He screamed at me like I was a little child right in front of everybody.
What? Why?
Dude, this guy was such an egotistical scum. I could just tell.
I actually did a lot of surgery and brain surgery. That was one of my fortes with my proctor, which is 40 years of neurosurgeon. We operated in the brain, and he says, "Bob, put your finger in the brain." I said, "What?" I was an intern. I said, "What? What are you talking about?" And I get the feel down there in the brain, and we pulled out the glioblastomas. Some of them did very well, but and I would tell them to my surgeon, neurosurgeon, I would say, "Hey, God's wonderful. He's fabulous." He said, "Who's God?" I mean, they were trained by like I say, people that don't believe in God.
Mm-hmm. I think that's terrible, man. I don't know, because I think science and stuff like that becomes their God, and human beings, I know you, and you go to my church and you're a great guy, but you're just a dude. Let me tell you another story. I got to tell you another story. My first day in the major trauma surgeon hospital, the surgeon threw a pliers across the room and started blaspheming God. I went to confession. I said,
Father, what am I going to do with this guy? If I speak up, he'd probably kick me out, and I'll never see it the light of day. Well, the priest said, in a nice way, tell him you're blaspheming God, and you could hurt somebody, and don't do it. This guy owned multiple HMOs. I mean, he was the founder of HMOs.
Okay, yeah, I know about that. I was in health insurance. I had a health insurance agency at one point.
He was the founder of HMO. I mean, the guy was.
Wow.
Yeah. Well, anyhow, the next day he started to do that. He started mumbling, real whisper in his mind. Ed, please, that's my guy. Don't do that, and don't throw that. You know, as meek as I could say it. And he says, Dr. Bob, you're right. Thanks for telling me. We became good friends, and we operated all the time on necks and backs. And he wanted to take me, to Russia and travel with him. I said, hey, come on, man. I got kids at home. What are you talking about?
Well, I appreciate people that tell me the truth like that, and they don't hold back. People that, even though you said it as meek as you could, people that are honest, regardless of whatever, you just say, you have to say the truth, and it's making you uncomfortable. And that's awesome that he respected you. And
well, real trick for me that I learned in my years. I'm now in the 80s. The real trick in me is I ask the Holy Spirit to speak for me, and He comes through my voice. In the old days when I was an intern, I was frightened and I didn't know what to do. And the Holy Spirit said, "Don't worry about it. Don't fear. Don't worry about it." And next thing I know, that He was right there, and I was speaking the right words. And this guy heard the Lord's voice through me.
Really?
Yeah, and he changed.
Hey, that's awesome. Let me ask you this before I let you go, because we had a long show, and I want to get you on sometime for an extended interview. We gotta talk about that and think about that. But
sure.
What is your position on? All right, I'm gonna tell you straight up. When I go to church, when I go to mass, a lot of times I'm meditating. Okay, like if somebody's in a lotus position in the Far East. Well, I'm kneeling, and I'm shutting my brain off, and I'm being quiet, and I'm doing a silent prayer. Actually, what we talked about today, we're talking about today on the show in the good news, is the fact, and I don't know if we touched on it that much in Mass, but the main message of the Mass today was basically says God insists on silence as the means to communicate the depths of Himself. So I kind of just meditate and chill and just be quiet and just let my brain shut off. And I think of like the whole, it doesn't matter what I say, because God knows what's in my heart, right? He knows what I need. I don't need to sit there and have a laundry list of things that, please do this, please do that. No, I just be quiet. What do you think about meditation and spirituality being together? Huh?
My hero is Fulton J Sheen. He was on TV. I don't know if you know about him.
Say his name one more time, please.
Fulton Sheen. Fulton Sheen. He was on TV in the 50s, and he won the Academy Award for CBS and all that. He had a daily show, and he said, prayer is good, but if you keep your mouth shut, God will talk to you. Essentially, and he's up for sainthood right now. He's blessed, and Fulton J Sheen is his name. You can look him up.
I'm going to look him up.
Yeah, he's really phenomenal. And he talked in the 50s, and he was like light years ahead of what's happening now. He's really, really great. My thing is that he said, go to adoration and with the monstrum and the Eucharist as much as you can, and receive daily the Eucharist and pray the Rosary, and that was his motto. That was his forte. So that's what I follow.
Well, right before the Eucharist is my favorite part. When we start kneeling, that's my favorite part, because I'm just in basically meditation mode, and I'm just silently praying.
Yeah.
quietly praying.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm doing that, and that's like the best time for me. That time, then you get up and then you say the Our Father, and you kind of seal the deal a little bit, and then you go, and then you know, I mean, and then peace. That right there, asking for peace and stuff, because the whole point of Mass for me is peace. You know, getting that daily peace.
Yeah. Well, the thing for me is that when the Eucharist is elevated and the wine's elevated, I said, God, another miracle. I'm awestruck. God, another miracle. You're coming into our church.
Mm-hmm. Cool.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Bob,
All right.
I'm going to let you go. We're going to continue on. I hope you have a great day. I really appreciate you, man. Thank you very much. And I will see you probably Sunday. Maybe.
A rosary day for you, for your podcast, and for your work. God bless you.
I'm going to start getting into the rosary more.
Oh yeah. Love you.
I'm bringing a rosary to Mass next time or next week. All right.
Sure. Good. Talk to you soon.
All right. Bye. See you, friend.
Yeah. Bye.
That was Dr. Bob.
Fulton Sheen, actually, he had a show on for 20 years called The Catholic Hour on NBC.
Got to check him out. And but for some reason, talk about meditation, and he brought him up.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if he said that. He talked about that stuff.
And fun thing for you, Fulton John Sheen, born actually Peter John Sheen.
Okay.
May 8th of 1895, and he passed on December 9th of 1979, was an American bishop of the Catholic Church.
Okay.
And known for his...
Wait, I think I've heard of him before now. Yes, he was like the first... He was the first Catholic show.
television personality.
Yes, he was. Yes, I've heard of... I think I may have at some point... You know, I'm a crazy documentary person, right? I think I've seen some kind of documentary about him.
Here's the cool part. He actually Sheen twice won an Emmy Award for most outstanding television personality.
No kidding.
And was featured on the cover of Time magazine.
Really?
Mm-hmm. So it doesn't seem like he was like as I would put it, like a TV personality, like a fake persona.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems to, from what, again, this is Wikipedia, from what it's saying, it seems like he actually was like about this too. I mean, being a bishop, like he wasn't just reach one level and then stop. Like, I mean, he was a bishop. That's pretty high up, right?
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. So, but there's a lot of personalities now. There's like a father on here. I would love to get some of these guys on here now that we are doing this focus. At some point, there's some kind of, he's got a podcast that says read the Bible in 365 days, which essentially we're doing now, just so you guys know.
Just about, I believe. Yeah, probably.
And we're starting with we basically started with Pentecost, which is the birth of the church. We started with Khan's birthday. That was the first episode. And then, which is fitting, because we basically started talking about, the Catholic Church, and the Catholic Church started then too.
Yeah, on June
3rd, I think. I think it's the 3rd.
3rd or 4th. I want to say 3rd.
I think it was the 3rd.
Yeah, it was one of those days.
It's Pentecost Sunday.
Yeah.
And so that was when the church began. So anyway, it's kind of fitting. And I love, I don't know, just talking to him just now.
Mm-hmm.
Think of, what did you think about that? I mean,
why I was speechless was because I'm still wrapping my head around that. Wow, like a surgeon.
Do you think there's superstition, major superstition with his belief system? And Father Bob, if you're listening right now, I'm sorry. We're soul analyzing and psychoanalyzing the whole situation. This is just comparative philosophies. Right now, we're on Catholicism.
I looked it up earlier when he was on.
Mm-hmm.
Are medical professionals religious?
Yes.
Primary care physicians or medical specialists represent 74.1%. 23.6% were in surgical specialty.
Yeah.
So, on that end,
Yeah. I mean, he's
less surgeons are
doctors
religious.
anyway.
Yeah.
Huh?
More of the physicians and medical specialists, they're geared more religious, statistically speaking.
But not surgeons.
Right. They're at
Surgeons
20.
is kind of like crazy for the surgeon. It's like,
I mean,
it's an anomaly.
Yeah, it's like 75% of all medical professionals or primary care physicians or medical specialists, 75% of them are religious in one way or another, while only under 25% of the surgical people are religious.
Wow.
I mean, oh wait, hold on. This is a funny last one. And 2.3% were psychotherapists. So like any of the psychiatric fields, 2.3 of them are religious.
Wow.
That,
So it's kind of like missing in a lot of those studies, right?
yeah, in the surgical field and
Science in general,
in general, I would
which is
definitely
kind of
say.
crazy too, because to look at, isn't that insane? It's amazing, right?
It's not amazing.
It's outstanding. But it's to look at all of that beauty and to think that it didn't come from, I don't know, like the whole logic thing to the faith. To not have that and to just logic, like you're missing something. You're just logicking it. You're missing something.
I mean, like the biggest thing that I love hearing with science arguments
Mm-hmm.
is like how, science can prove this, science can prove that. Well, hold on here.
Can't prove anything.
We haven't even explored all of the oceans or water that is on the face of this earth, apparently.
Right.
Flat earth stuff. If we haven't explored all of the water areas on this planet, then how the hell do we know about the Big Bang Theory? How do we know any of that is an absolute truth?
Mm-hmm. What does it say? But the moon was made in a Hollywood basement, right?
Oh yeah, the moon landing.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
So-
Let's not go off on a tangent there.
No.
Let's stick to this the focus. We're gonna have a J6er on at some point here. Maybe we should call him back. I'm not sure, but or we could maybe have a lead up to it. Should we do the Jan 6 stuff now?
Yeah, I mean, and
Because
you know
we'll
what?
keep
Why
the-
not bring him on back on, because he'll get to talk with it.
With it while we
Yeah.
do it? All right.
You know what I mean?
I wonder if he'll be able to hear it.
If you put your phone next to it, maybe.
I don't know if he could hear it though. Maybe we should just take a phone call and then hear his opinion on it first.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Your call has been.
Oh, well, I'll just
Or let's talk about the video first,
Okay.
and then if he calls back, we'll take his opinion.
okay. So we're gonna get into some bad news. Did you have a bad news thing?
No, because we were going to talk about the J6 thing.
I know, but
Yeah.
you still don't have a bad news thing.
No, I do know though that there was another shooting yesterday, and Biden's a mini.
No, stop. Talking about G6, but I'm saying I thought you had I thought you had like some kind of
I mean,
there. That's what I was looking for.
Proud of your boy.
Oh my God, I did not mean to hit that. Now, basically, what's going on is this is crazy. So, I really want to talk about J6. J6 is completely out of control. This thing. Now, I want to tread on waters lightly. But do we know what the meaning of a narrative is? Narrative. Let's look up narrative first. Narrative is spoken or written account of connected events. A story. A story. It's a story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then, do you understand Fugazi?
Pow!
I'm asking you to middle a diamond for me here. Now, all I want from my end is 8,000.
What I'm saying to you is you should give it to somebody that don't know any better, because that's a Fugazi. All right?
That's a Fugazi? How do you know it's a Fugazi? You looked at it for 2 seconds.
Well, it's a fake.
Yeah, I know what a Fugazi is.
Fugazi.
Outstanding.
Fugazi, not the band Fugazi. Not the band.
Meaning fake.
Fake. So,
And that's from dictionary.com.
yeah. So what they're basically they're trying to create a story.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is not a trial. It's a trial by the public. It's a public opinion trial. It's not an actual trial. They're not. I mean, they are trying certain people, and the reason why I'm even talking about this is because there seems to they seem to have quieted a lot of the opposing voices.
Yeah.
And because we're shrouding ourselves in the religion, in God and stuff like that, hopefully God will shield us and we can talk truthfully a little bit about what's going on here.
Yeah.
You know, just to give a little bit of balance, because you're not getting the balance right now. If you consume that January 6th stuff, the commission, it is a poorly produced podcast, worse than this show. So it's like basically me putting together a PowerPoint presentation or the show notes the night before, and getting the people that they had on last night did not. It was conjecture. The girl, the female police officer, Capitol police officer who was there at the bike gates. She was going through a lot at the time, and I respect her service and stuff like that. I'm not saying anything bad about her service or demeaning her whatsoever, or questioning her oath or anything like that at all whatsoever. But she had a lot going on, and to you know, hear somebody say one thing to, you know, you don't even know the context of it, and people are riling you up. It's an emotional, crazy thing, and you don't know what's in the hearts of those people. Just because they said something doesn't mean that there's any proof that it was a coordinated plan by any quote unquote violent criminal organization.
Either one.
Yeah, or whatever, or whoever.
It's not,
fraternity. It doesn't matter. Number one, the first thing is this group that they keep highlighting on this, they keep highlighting two groups.
Nick Quested and
what's his name?
Nick Quested.
Nick Quested. That was a documentary filmmaker who was on the J6.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, all right. He was there. He was interviewing people. Embedded in a group that they were highlighting on the J6 commission last night. But everything that he says, you'll see, he didn't see anything that backs up anything. None of the evidence that they showed supported anything. First of all, take a look at this. This is like we said, this is the court of public opinion that they're trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
There are 7. I'm not sure. I wonder if I got that. I'm not sure, but I thought I recorded it. There are like 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans. 7 Democrats and 2 Republicans on the committee. All right. We're going to see how insanely, you know, insanely biased these people really are. And they're supposed to be, look at this. Mm-hmm. This is the commissioner. The commissioner. He's talking about his credentials. You know, he comes from the South. Okay. And grew
Missouri or Mississippi, one of the two. Missouri.
He grew up. No, I don't know. He grew up during the. He mentions like segregation, stuff like that. This is supposed to be the non-partial judge going against these people, creating the false narrative storyline that these people are white supremacists and they're doing this and that and whatever.
Yep,
and they're not. Hold on, check this out.
With the bang of the gavel, the chairman, Benny Thompson, has ended this first public hearing of this month of the Select Committee. Their next public hearing, as you heard, is Monday morning. Testimony tonight from a Capitol police officer injured defending the Capitol grounds and a filmmaker who documented the extremist group, the Proud Boys. Committee members are building their case that the January 6th attack on the Capitol was coordinated and that former President Donald Trump fomented the riot and then did nothing to stop it. You see there committee members, not just the chair and the vice chair, but the other 7 members. This committee is comprised of 2 Republicans, 7 Democrats.
Do you hear that?
Yeah.
And then going to Benny Thompson. Listen to this.
I'm Benny Thompson, chairman of the January 6th, 2021 committee. I was born, raised, and still live in Bolton, Mississippi, a town with a population of 521, which is midway between Jackson and Vicksburg, Mississippi, and the Mississippi River. I'm from a part of the country where people justify the actions of slavery, the Ku Klux Klan, and lynching. I'm reminded of that dark history as I hear voices today try and justify the actions
He's
of
reminded of it.
insurrectionists on January 6th, 2021.
His imagination.
Over the next few weeks, hopefully you will get to know the other members, my colleagues up here, and me. We represent a diversity of communities from all over the United States.
Yeah, right.
Rural areas and cities, East Coast, West Coast, and the Heartland. All of us have one thing in common.
Yeah, you know what the one thing in common is? Every single one of them is a stupid idiot. Or stupidiot, which is a new word. Hashtag STUP IDIOT. Yes, yeah. Stupidiot.
Yeah.
That's what they are. There's 7 stupidiot Democrats and there's 2 stupidiot Republicans.
Right, I know.
And this one just outed himself. He's the commissioner. He's the head guy.
He's the head of the committee, the chairperson.
He's the head committee, and he told me just now that he's completely biased. He's from the South. He's expecting them, like he's expecting this to be like the KKK or something like that. You know, it's insanity.
Which, I mean, this is only my opinion. I do not believe that either group that is being discussed right now, either one of them is a white supremacist group at all.
No, they're not. And also there was no coordinated plan. No. And if you watched this, like, I actually, maybe what we'll do is there's an extended thing. We could watch it for a little bit. We could stream it for a little bit. You guys, just to get you guys, I don't know if you guys have seen the whole thing or you watched the whole thing, but we could just say what what comes to mind.
Yeah, just for awareness, be advised, there's probably about
I'm not sure.
300
Look at this.
Proud Boys. They're marching eastbound in this 400 block of kind of Independence, actually on the mall towards the United States Capitol.
300? Did that look like 300? It didn't look like 300.
Kind of funny that they used the number 300 and
oh my god,
badass Spartans were the 300.
Wow, they're real. They are building this Fugazi narrative.
Yeah, that's it. Because I mean,
they're built,
one is
and
not
you'll hear where that comes from. It's from this documentarian guy, who immediately, by the way, this is so great when you hear him.
Can you tell us how you found yourself in Washington, D.C. on January 6, 2021?
Outstanding.
Good evening, Chair and Madam Vice Chair. Thank you for the introduction. As stated, in the winter of 2020, I was working on a documentary. As part of that documentary, I filmed several rallies in Washington, D.C. on December the 11th and December the 12th, and I learned there would be a rally on the Mall on January 6th. So my 3 colleagues and I came down to document the rally. According to the permit of the event, there was going to be a rally at the Ellipse. We arrived at the Mall and observed a large contingent of Proud Boys marching towards the Capitol. We filmed them, and almost immediately I was separated from my colleagues. I documented the crowd turn from protesters to rioters to insurrectionists. I was surprised at the size of the group, the anger and the profanity. And for anyone who didn't understand how violent that event was, I saw it, I documented it, and I experienced it. I heard incredibly aggressive chanting, and I subsequently shared that footage with the authorities. I'm here today pursuant to a House subpoena. Thank you so much.
He gets broken off from his camera crew. There's nobody else to corroborate a story. Yeah. All these things are there. There is no evidence. There's no concrete evidence. It's all innuendo. It's all, we heard him say the word capital.
It's hearsay.
They met in a place.
That's it.
They had a discussion.
There was
nothing,
I'm sorry, but like just from no understanding like the path or understanding how police work, I guess should be done, whatever. Where did you get that from? A place? Thank you. That was very good police working.
Yeah.
What did that just tell you?
Aren't a lot of these people like the people that like they take like whatever the simplest explanation for something is? Aren't these the people that claim not to be conspiracy theorists?
Yeah, only the one.
Aren't these the people that actually like make fun of people who are smarter than them and awake?
Or however you would put it, yes.
Egotistically making fun of them, thinking that they are that they are the dumb people and not actually having any self-awareness to realize they're the dumb people. These are the same people.
However,
I mean, like this is just like the people that believe false narratives, stories are people that are consumed with watching movies. They stay in fantasy land.
I kind of disagree with.
Okay.
I do.
Why?
Well, simply, I watch a lot of movies and I watch a lot of whatever, like shows that are on television, but I stream them.
I'm not saying all, I'm saying most.
Well, yeah.
I'm saying most. And you're an anomaly. Most people that would find themselves in the conservative, they don't really, I don't think they really consume themselves as much with TV as the person on the left does. The person on the left,
they probably don't. Yeah.
The person on the left is more consumed, in my opinion, not to judge and not to put everybody in. I would just say, and I'm being careful how I'm saying it.
Mm-hmm.
I do believe, and I bet you we could back this up with statistical fact, that most are way more consumed with things that are going on in society, actually secular society. We talked about this today in Mass. Because when you go to Mass every day, you form a faith-based society.
Oh, yeah.
We have our own people there that we can reach out to or whatever. You have your own society. You don't need to listen to the stupid secular society that's being broadcast everywhere for you to watch this stupid movie that's dumb and means nothing. And it's right there to brainwash you. And they put those, they lace them with things. Yeah. So anyway, but most people that are succumb to that brainwashing are people that consume it all the time. Therefore, I'm just letting you know, you might be good. You might be okay doing what you're doing. But most people that take that kind of junk in they give junk out and it comes out in their politics and they end up left-leaning people. Not all.
No, not all.
But a strong majority are very like that. They're very like that. They're not even of the world. They're not even of, like, they're of the world. They're of it. They don't even realize they're trapped in this, like, just fake thing that they walk around, believing they're going to live forever. And then, all of a sudden they get something and then it dawns on them. And then they're going to find religion or something, or maybe they won't. Doesn't matter. But anyway, it doesn't hit them until any of us really, until we get.
Well, that That's it too, but I think it has a lot with like
a lot of conservative people have gotten that wake up call.
Yeah.
And so you will probably find a lot of them that don't watch as much just junk TV, but a lot of boomers were like the first ones who were captivated by screens.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that was when the TV came about. They're like really locked in. It's hard for a boomer to realize they're so addicted to screens and media and news, fake news and things like that. They just believe it. What's going on? It's just all Fugazi.
Yeah.
And this is just more adding to it. More Fugazi. Nonsense. Narrative. Storyline. Fake storyline. Let's bring this guy in. He heard something. Let's bring her in. She was there, but it was very stressful and emotional and stuff like that. Okay. And everybody's trying to get in. What are you going to prove? You didn't hear anything. You didn't hear anybody break down this is the plan or anything like that. Nobody confessed to a plan in front of you. No, you were in a riot. You can't spell riot without patriot. You can't spell patriot without riot.
Yeah. Well, then
anyway.
And on top of that, how could you take her testimony?
How could they even be sorry.
How can you take that any testimony that she said after the first incident, that violent incident against her? I'll say this, what I saw on that video last night of them showing that, I don't call it direct violence against whatever, however they put it, the police, the whole Capitol, the whatever. No. What happened to her when she fell, hit her head, hit her chin, blacked out, done. Your testimony ends there.
I know.
Why? Because the rest of that, how can we know what you're recounting after a medical term blackout? How can we attest that? If they're not even, I'm just putting out, I don't believe in the guy, Billy Milligan guy who claims all that. I don't believe what he said.
He's talking about the Netflix documentary with this guy who had multiple personalities.
Dissociative identity disorder.
I thought of a stupid thing. Can I say the stupid thing that I thought of?
Yeah.
I think that God has that. The Trinity. What's the Trinity?
Well, God, Jesus, and the Holy Spirit.
Yeah, but it's kind of like, what did you just say about multiple personality disorder?
Well, in the new way, in the DSM-5.
He says in the Bible, it says, nobody is going to know God but through me. Gatekeeping one of your multiple personalities, are we God? Does God have multiple personality disorder? Sorry. Well, I know that was stupid. Anyway.
No, I think he's one entity. Like, but like, I don't. So if they're not going to believe a story, like something like that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or, I mean, I believe they do believe him and he gets insanity, whatever. Or if anybody that claims insanity and says, or had a head injury, they automatically go, oh, well, that caused the head injury, caused their, whatever.
Right.
So if she blacked out where she can't remember from a long time, how are we supposed to take her testimony serious?
So what you're bringing up is great, because this is not a traditional trial. This is a trial of the people, right? They're playing it at 8:00 at night, prime time, and they're trying to create
your American Idol people.
This is just they're trying to tell everybody this false story, so it just implants in your brain. It was like, the Proud Boys started it. The
Oath Keeper started it. Whoever. Like,
no. What happened was, you conspiracy theorist idiots, is just like a bunch of people were there. A bunch of people were there. They were called there for their president. And everything got out of hand, and anything that happened that day was spontaneous. That's it. Period.
Now,
what?
I think about in the past. Maybe like a year or so ago, prior to, or 2 years ago now, when there would be BLM riots after George Floyd and all those things, right?
Mm-hmm.
And how like the group, I mean the organizers, the BLM fascists, my opinion, they came out and said that is not their message, to riot, destroy, right?
When?
Well, no, meaning that they say it's not about that. It's about whatever, like the whole Black Lives Matter. Not about it's not. Well, then Why is it that there's riot? That
you know what? I think we need a pee break. Do you have that thing?
Yeah.
I just need a really fast pee break, and then we're gonna watch the extended thing.
Yeah.
And we're gonna comment on it.
Okay.
Okay. Is that cool?
Yeah.
All right. So prepare that for me really quick, and guys, we'll be right back in like 2 seconds. Like seriously, 2 seconds. Don't you go anywhere at all. We're gonna break this down, the J6 stuff, and then we're gonna get into the good news. Alrighty then, we are back, we are back, we are back, we are back. Oh man, bad news. So I hate bad news. The Jan 6 stuff. Let's talk about the Jan 6 stuff, dude. First of all, one thing is Newsmax, man. Let's look at this. This is Enrique Tarrio, who is the former chairman of that organization.
That is Enrique Tarrio. He was the head of the Proud Boys. So many lies have been told about Enrique Tarrio and the Proud Boys. It's not even funny. They're not white supremacists. By the way, he's incarcerated right now. Very serious charges. They were just upgraded. This is what happened when he was arrested.
FBI agents raiding Henry Enrique Tarrio's Miami home yesterday. He surrendered without incident. The arrest comes after federal prosecutors charged him with conspiracy and connection to the January 6th insurrection. The 38-year-old was not in Washington, D.C.
The anchor was about to say he was not in Washington, D.C. on January 6th, but they still say he was involved. And in fact, the charges have just been upgraded to seditious conspiracy. We'd like to bring in Zuni Tarrio, Enrique's mother. And Zuni, welcome to Newsmax. I'm sorry you're going through this, quite frankly. I know a lot of the facts here. I think he's been overcharged and mishandled and lied about. Anyway, how you doing?
Greg, thank you. I'm very honored to be on your show. I sincerely am. Thank you so much. This has been a roller coaster.
I would imagine so. And actually, if anybody wants to help Enrique and you can go to the TarrioFamilyFund.com. TarrioFamilyFund.com. Now, a couple of things. First off, I want to address this whole idea that your son, who I believe is Afro-Cuban, is somehow a white supremacist, and I guess that would make you the mother of a white supremacist, which is laughable and ridiculous. Would you please share with me your thoughts about that accusation?
That is one of the most ridiculous things of all the things that have been said. That is one of the most ridiculous. He is Afro-Cuban. We come from a Cuban family. Henry is the first generation of Americans, and by no means is he a white supremacist.
And you were born in Cuba, ma'am?
I was born in Cuba, and so is his father. And again, that is one of the most ridiculous things. Just by looking at him physically, you could just tell that.
Tell us a little bit about him. You know, we've had him on the show. We know his beliefs. He's, hardcore freedom. But tell us a little bit about something we don't know about him.
Enrique is just a family man. He's a regular guy, nonviolent, loving man, just a family man altogether. So, and he is truly missed by all of us in the family.
So they already, he pleaded guilty to, I believe, burning a Black Lives Matter flag at a protest, which it sounds like literally giving somebody a ticket at the Indianapolis 500, a speeding ticket. It's crazy. He burned the BLM flag. He went to jail for, I think, 4 or 5 months. And now he's back in trouble. Seditious conspiracy. They just upgraded the charges. What do you know about the latest to befall him?
Yes, they did just add those charges this week. Again, I mean, this is a roller coaster. I don't know how far the government is going to go with this situation. It's just hurting families. And every day it's something different. At the last minute, they come up with new charges. And again, all of them, they're just family guys, They haven't been given bond. We've asked that they please be home till trial. That's all we've been asking. and nothing. The government just keeps pushing forward in some shameful way.
Have you been able to talk with him or visit with him?
Actually, I just talked to him a little while ago, and I told him I was going to be on your show, and he was extremely excited about that. He really liked the fact. And
what is it? Just pause that for a second. But think about this: before they even select the jury for their trials, they're poisoning the entire population with a false narrative.
Yes, it's the same thing they did with the riots, with BLM riots. The only footage they showed you, or they tried to show you, was of minimal violence, minimal whatever. And what are they showing here?
But I'm saying this trial of public opinion that they're putting on right now, every single potential juror on any of those guys' cases are seeing that.
Yeah, because
that is done by design. That's done by design. Man, that's just so deceitful and sinful.
I do talk to him, and he just landed in Miami like an hour ago.
He landed back in Miami an hour ago?
Yes, he landed back in Miami an hour ago. So he's now in FTC Miami.
Okay, he's in federal custody in Miami. Why did they move him?
That was something that Judge Kelly granted for him to come back to Miami to be closer to his defense.
So, listen, you came here, your lawyer is not here, and the Tarrio family lawyer, you have one, he has one, so I'm not going through the indictment with you for that reason, although I have been through it, and quite frankly, I think there's not a case here. That's my opinion. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a prosecutor. I saw the text communications, at least those that were summarized, and it doesn't look like he was advocating for violence or an insurrection or anything like that. A lot of people do think, though, these charges were upgraded to sedition because of the hearings that are going to happen tomorrow night. Do you believe that?
I do believe that. I think it's a way for the government to manipulate that committee hearing tomorrow, those hearings tomorrow.
All right. And by the way, excuse me, though, is it TarrioFund.com or .co? All right. .co or .com? Sorry.
.com is okay. If they put .co, that'll be just the same. They'll be able to see it on there.
All right. Terrific. Forgive me. I thought we had a typo.
Thank you so much. Yes. Thank you for clarifying that.
Before we say goodbye, have you been harassed or anything like that? I mean, your son and the fake news and the mainstream media, sedition, they're using that term very loosely. And now he's charged with it. Have you been harassed by anybody?
I have had some BLM groups come to my home in the past, and this has just caused so many problems. It's just financial crisis here. There's emotional problems. There's all sorts of problems, with this situation.
Yeah, it gets very complicated very quickly when the government is prosecuting you and their unlimited resources. Well, the TarrioFamilyFund.co or .com, either works, Tarrio Family Fund. If you want to learn more, Google, you can read the indictment. I don't think the case is there. I know your son has been lied about. I know the Proud Boys have been lied about. I wish you all the best. Zuni Tarrio, okay?
Thank you, Greg. We really appreciate all your help, and all your comments have been very, very well received. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow.
I mean, they're all fitting, trying to make a narrative.
Mm-hmm. Yes, they are. So you okay, man?
Yeah.
Yeah? Are you sure?
Yeah.
All right. Because be honest, if you're not okay.
I'm all right.
All right. Okay. Well, do you really want to get into the more of that stuff, more of the J6 stuff, or do you want to move on? Is it beating a dead horse?
I mean, right now we have they're doing whatever they're going to do on those things.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they haven't tried to change their narrative at all, or even a minor bit. In fact, it's just getting worse.
If we get a phone call from our friend, we'll go back into that. But look at this story, man. Changing it up a little bit. This is a transgender Lutheran bishop resigns over racism allegations. I thought that was interesting.
How
I was going to read that if that's
so
cool.
he's a transgender, but he got a.
This is in Los Angeles.
Well,
we're getting a call.
Where else would it be from?
Oh, I guess we're not going to change directions yet. Hello?
accept this call, press 1. To send the caller into voicemail, press 3.
Yes, how you doing?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up? Hey, this right here is a gentleman who was involved in January 6th and got, I guess, hemmed up in the legal ramifications of his involvement. And so we were talking just now about the January 6th commission and what's going on with that, right? And we were playing some videos of it. My opinion is, I guess I'll share my opinion first, and then you can tell me what your takeaway is. But I think it's like, we were talked about what a narrative is. A narrative is just a storyline. It's a story, and this is a false narrative they're creating, I believe. And I think that it's interesting how they're doing it right now, creating a false narrative for everybody in the United States. This entire pool of people that could be potential jurors on some of you guys' cases. And those guys are going to get selected to be jurors. You know what I'm saying? I mean, this is pretty crazy. All of the people that they have up here, that they have up so far, the first day, those two people were not very credible. They were the woman. If we were jurors, for instance, we would probably impeach them as credible, just like Khan was talking about earlier, right?
Correct.
As far as like she got bumped on the head,
she got
passed
hit on
out.
the head, and then she says her own word, "I blacked out, and I don't know how long."
Yes,
and then
she said she was unconscious. How do you get away from being unconscious?
And then recall stuff and have it be claimed as truth afterwards? Because I'm sorry, I thought after you possibly get a concussion from getting knocked out like that, you don't really, things are messed up in your head for a little bit. Your eggs get scrambled.
And the documentary filmmaker guy who is embedded with this
Nick
group, just because he overheard a word being said, capital. Just because she heard Joseph Biggs say something, said a word. I haven't played it yet. I was going to play that extended thing. I don't even know if you could hear it on your end if I play it from this end, but we could comment on it together if you want to. But you tell me, you want to tell me your 2 cents on this?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, I think it's all a sham. I mean, start by the characters you got on that committee. I mean, you got Shaney, total rhino, always hated Trump, and of course the narrative of the left. And they don't talk about all this stuff. Ashley Babbitt, what happened to that? No investigation into that. Nothing said about opening the barricades. They don't want to show that. Talk about 29 Capitol Police officers that were suspended without pay for further investigation, as well as 6 Capitol Police officers that got fired. No, that's being mentioned. And I just find it very strange how this narrative keeps going on. And you hit it right on the nail when you said those are potential jurors that are listening in on prime time. And it's bad enough you got to deal with District of Columbia that about 91% voted in favor of Biden. And you know damn well you're not going to get a fair trial from your peers. So far, there's been 4 trials, and all 4, not even one has been, and I'm talking not bench trials, but actually jury trials. They all been found guilty on every charge.
Oh my God, really?
Yes, I follow this like there's no tomorrow. And I'm telling you, the way this is going, it's bad. For example, the obstruction of justice charge. The narrative that they keep pushing on is this obstruction of justice charge, which carries a maximum of 20 years. I've been charged with that. And I keep asking for evidence. Under the Sixth Amendment, I have the right to a speedy trial, as well as all evidence, discovery that needs to be presented to me.
Mm-hmm.
Still haven't gotten the discovery when I keep asking, how did I obstruct justice? Where's the proof? If I never went in a chamber, Congress already was on recess. I'm going off the timeline. So therefore, how can I obstruct justice? But then you got over 300 Me Too feminist movement that stopped the hearings for Kavanaugh. And that's the real meaning of obstruction of justice. No one got hit up with obstruction of justice there. Just escorted out.
It is, in my opinion, that it is all just. Am I loud enough to? I'm loud enough there.
Yeah.
It was all a spontaneous thing that happened. All the people that were there that day, all the people that came because Trump said, "Come," right?
Yeah, exactly. Stop the Hill rally. It was not stop the Capitol Hill rally.
Everybody came, and it was just another rally. There were 3 rallies. There was a rally in November, there was a rally in December, and there was a rally in January. 3 rallies.
I thought there was one in September, too. I thought it was like September, November.
There were
3,
a lot.
right? Yeah.
It was November. Yeah, I know there was 3. November, December, and definitely January 6th.
Right. And so there's a lead up of it. And that, that guy, this whole, I don't know, man. Regardless of if these guys like you and the people that are all wrapped up in this whole situation, people that went and they trespassed, okay? Mm-hmm. Regardless of if it was legal or not.
Yeah.
Okay. Regardless of if they were genuinely bad people with bad intentions who went there with a plan or not. Regardless, they deserve a speedy trial, and they also don't deserve a kangaroo court of public opinion with people who don't. There's no evidence. It's not evidence. They're saying, I'm going to produce evidence, and there's no evidence. We could watch the testimonies right now if you want to. The testimonies are evident. She says it. She impeaches herself immediately, and so does he. They didn't see anything. He conveniently says when he's following these people, this group,
that he broke off.
From his crew.
Yeah.
So nobody else is there to corroborate his story.
No.
Isn't that convenient?
Nope.
And actually really funny too, when I was trying to find him,
Mm-hmm.
that's why I was having trouble. Wikipedia said, we are currently building this page. This guy, even DB.
Yeah.
They claim he's this big footage maker, all this, and they have nothing. They don't even know anything on this guy. How is this? How can we take any?
However, I was able to obtain footage as a journalist of him documenting things. I see him doing it by himself. But anyway, let's play a little bit of this. Can you hear this? You tell me if you could hear this, caller. Hold on.
Please, your microphone.
Can you hear this?
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I really appreciate it.
No, I cannot.
Thank you to the committee for having me here to testify. I was called a lot of things on January 6, 2021 and the days thereafter. I was called Nancy Pelosi's dog, called incompetent, called a hero, and a villain. I was called a traitor to my country, my oath, and my Constitution. In actuality, I was none of those things. I was an American, standing face to face with other Americans, asking myself how many times, many times, how we had gotten here. I had been called names before, but never had my patriotism or duty been called into question. I, who got up every day, no matter how early the hour or how late I got in the night before, to put on my uniform and to protect America's symbol of democracy. I, who spent countless hours in the baking sun and freezing snow to make sure that America's elected officials were able to do their job. I, whose literal blood, sweat, and tears were shed that day defending the building that I spent countless holidays and weekends working in. I am the proud granddaughter of a Marine that fought in the Battle of the Chosin Reservoir in the Korean War. I think of my papa often in these days, how he was so young and thrown into a battle he never saw coming and answered the call at a great personal cost. How he lived the rest of his days with bullets and shrapnel in his legs, but never once complained about his sacrifice. I would like to think that he would be proud of me, proud of his granddaughter that stood her ground that day and continued fighting, even though she was wounded, like he did many years ago. I am my grandfather's granddaughter, proud to put on a uniform and serve my country. They dared to question my honor. They dared to question my loyalty. And they dared to question my duty. I am a proud American, and I will gladly sacrifice everything to make sure that the America my grandfather defended is here for many years to come. Thank you.
Dude, put us back on for a second.
Mm-hmm.
Are you there?
Yep.
So we just played her initial speech, and she evoked the word proud 4 times. I think 3 or 4 times.
I'm sorry. Who was it? Who was it that you were playing? I couldn't hear.
Caroline Edwards.
This is from last night. The Capitol Police officer. She evoked that word. I think that's interesting that word was evoked 3 or 4 times. And then I thought it was also interesting that she is aligning herself with her papa. Mm-hmm. She is saying she's like that World War II or Korean War veteran.
Korean War. Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
She's just like that. She's painting that picture in the stupid person, the dumb person that's sitting there on their couch who doesn't know that this is just fake. That person is taking in this information and putting it into their dumb brain right now, and they think it's true. On Twitter, you can tell you what. Yeah, it's true because my TV said so.
Exactly.
And so, I mean, what she said was gobbledygook. It didn't even mean anything, really.
No,
that was
just the emotional part to get everybody to like her.
It was emotional. It didn't really give you any information. It was a nice little picture or something like that, a little painting.
Oh, wait, no. She did say one little thing.
Mm-hmm.
I gave blood, sweat, and tears that day.
She gave. Talk about ego. Ego.
Yeah.
Let me tell you.
What about the people that died that day? And to say that.
Well, here's a better one. I've been to war, and I could tell you that was not a war. So I don't know where the hell she decided to use that terminology. Unless she's been to war, she needs to shut up.
And actually, if I remember correctly, later on in her testimony, I forget.
They asked her. They started asking her questions.
It looked like a war.
Yes, she uses the word war. Yes, she does.
She did. I remember that.
Of course she does.
Yeah,
I remember that.
It's when I think Cheney starts questioning her.
Yeah, and I think it was after. Oh wait, that's right. This was after her unconscious part.
Right.
Yep.
So
how about then you have the puppet behind her that the media's portrayed, the other Capitol Police officer, the heavier African American gentleman.
Well, no, I was already saying that guy, he's the commissioner, right? That's what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about the other Capitol Police that put his hand on her shoulder while she was testifying.
Yeah.
Yes.
Caroline was testifying.
I think that's, yes.
And he went to that correspondence dinner. He was a guest invited by, obviously, the puppet Biden administration.
Of course.
And they keep using this it's a political stunt at the end of the day. They're using to publicize this, keep the people's mind off, forget inflation, forget gas prices, forget leaving billions of dollars of equipment in Afghanistan.
I know.
And let's just take away from that. And let's get the people thinking of how bad January 6th is that happened 18 months. Where's the commissions for BLM burning down half America back in 2020? You don't hear that. You don't see a website for that.
Nope.
No, I don't.
Or you don't.
And I can tell you what happened because I do. No, absolutely not. I do case law research every single day. And you can look this up. It's a fact. There was 15 people charged with civil disorder that day on Portland during the uprisings over there in the federal courthouse. All of them, just barely 2 months ago, their cases all got dismissed. And they did the exact same shit, used pepper spray on officers, federal officers, and nothing happened to them. They were in charge. It said in the best interest, when I look at the docket for the court cases, that it be dismissed. So nothing happened to them. And this is Antifa.
The main thing is sedition. Sedition is the highest crime in the land because it kills the organism being the United States of America, and because we're just a bunch of groups assembled within groups upon groups upon groups, and the ultimate group being the umbrella of the United States of America Incorporated. That particular organism doesn't want to die. And so anybody that threatens its existence will die. And so what they're trying to say is that the Proud Boys and the Oath Keepers and things like that there was an organized thing. And I'm saying that there was nothing organized that day. Whatever happened, It was spontaneous.
Spontaneous, yep.
It was spontaneous.
It just happened, and there's no evidence of anything taking place. People talking about it, saying, "Hey, let's all meet up and go to the Capitol and do this." Weeks prior planning.
It's total
sham, total bullshit.
Yep.
And then I like the guy yesterday from the chair of the committee when he was interviewing that guy Nicholas, or I forgot his name, the producer that supposedly was embedded with the Proud Boys that day filming.
Nick Quest.
And he put the words on his mouth. Yep, there you go, Nick Quest. He said, "So how many Proud Boys were there?" "Oh, about 100. And then he comes back, the chairman of the committee says, "So about 250 or 300.
Yes.
Yeah, so now you're putting words.
Yeah.
He said a couple hundred. If we play that, can we play that? Can you be quiet for just like 2-3 minutes? Hold on 1 second.
And not too many people catch those little details. That
hold on 1 second, caller, for like 2-3 minutes, and just there. We going back to it? Does it play it? Oh, it doesn't have it. Thought it had it set up. Oh man, hold on.
Breached the east side door of the rotunda.
Mr. Tario
Here it is.
in Washington, D.C. and have engaged in violence with people they view. You've been filming. You gain access to the Proud Boys and their leader, Enrique Tario. Your crew filmed them in Washington, D.C. on the evening of January 5th and then on January 6th. On January 5th, the night before the attack, you were with the head of the Proud Boys, Mr. Tario, in Washington, D.C. What happened?
He's telling him what to say.
We picked up Mr. Tario from jail. He'd been arrested for carrying some magazines, some extra capacity magazines, and he took responsibility for the burning of the Black Lives Matter flag that was stolen from the church on December the 12th. We were attempting to get an interview with Mr. Tario. We had no idea of any of the events that were going to subsequently happen. We drove him to pick up his bags from the property department of the police, which is just south of the mall. We picked up his bags and went to get some other bags from the Phoenix Hotel, where we encountered Mr. Stuart Rhodes from the Oath Keepers. By the time I'd gone to park the car, my colleague was saying, who'd got into the car with Mr. Tario, that they had moved to a location around the corner, the parking garage of the Hall of Legends, I believe. And so we quickly drove over there. We drove down into the parking garage and filmed the scene of Mr. Tario and Mr. Rhodes and certain other individuals in that garage. We then continued to follow Mr. Tario. There was some discussion about where he was going to go. He ended up going towards a hotel in Baltimore, and we conducted an interview with him in the hotel room. And then we returned to DC for that night. And what was interesting that night actually was that was the first indication that DC was much more busy than it had been any other time we'd been here, because we couldn't get into the hotels we wanted to, and we ended up at a hotel that, you know, was not as satisfactory as we would hoped.
Thank you. So what you're saying is you filmed the meeting between Mr. Tarrio and Oath Keepers leader Stuart Rose, right?
Indeed.
You couldn't hear what was said, but according to the Justice Department indictment of Mr. Tarrio, a participant referenced the Capitol. Now, on the morning of January 6th, you learned the Proud Boys would gather near the rally scheduled to take place near the White House. What time did you meet up with the Proud Boys, and what was happening when they met?
We met up with the Proud Boys somewhere around 10:30 a.m. and they were starting to walk down the mall easterly direction towards the Capitol. There was a large contingent, more than I had expected, and I was confused to a certain extent why we were walking away from the president's speech, because that's what I felt we were there to cover.
So at 10:30 a.m., that's early in the day. That's even before President Trump had started speaking. Am I correct?
Yes, sir.
So how many Proud Boys would you estimate were marching together to the Capitol?
A couple of hundred. Potentially, yeah, I'd say a couple of hundred Proud Boys were marching towards the Capitol at that point.
At the time, was the area heavily guarded?
No, that was, I remember we walked we walked down the mall, we walked to the right of the reflecting pool, and then north along the road that leads to the Peace Circle. And as we were walking past the Peace Circle, I framed the Proud Boys to the right of my shot with the Capitol behind, and we see one sole police officer at the barriers, which subsequently breached. We then walk up and past a tactical unit preparing, and you see that in the film where the man questions their duty and their honor, and you see maybe a dozen Capitol Police putting on their riot gear.
So how would you describe the atmosphere at that time?
The atmosphere it seemed to be much darker. I make efforts to create a familiarity between myself and my subjects to make them feel comfortable. And the atmosphere was much darker this day than had been in these other days. And there was also a contingent of Proud Boys that I hadn't met before from Arizona who appeared to wear these orange hats and had orange armbands.
So when the Proud Boys went back down the hill to the Peace Circle, did a larger crowd start together?
Well, no. First of all, we went round to the back and down the steps, and we took some photographs on the east side of the Capitol. And then we went for lunch. We went for tacos.
So, Mr. Quested, you're a journalist, so you are careful to stick to things that you have observed. But what you've told us is highly relevant. Let me highlight a few key facts that you and others have provided the committee. First, there was a large group of Proud Boys present at the Capitol. We know that from multiple sources. You now estimate that there were around 250 to 300 individuals that you've testified. They weren't there for President Trump's speech. We know this because they left that area to march toward the Capitol before the speech began. They walked around the Capitol that morning. I'm concerned this allowed them to see what defenses were in place and where weaknesses might be. And they decided to launch their attack at the Peace Circle, which is the front door of the Capitol complex. It's the first security perimeter that those marching from the ellipse would have to come to as they move toward the Capitol. The Peace Circle walkway was always where the thousands of angry Trump supporters would arrive after President Trump sent them from the ellipse. The Proud Boys timed their attack to the moments before the start of the joint session in the Capitol, which is also where President Trump directed the angry mob, quote, "We fight like hell," end quote. He told them before sending them down Pennsylvania Avenue, right to where the Proud Boys gathered and where you were filming. Now, a central question is whether the attack on the Capitol was coordinated and planned. What you witnessed is what a coordinated and planned effort would look like. It was the culmination of a months-long effort spearheaded by President Trump.
Turn me back off.
Mr. Quested, thank you for your eyewitness account of the lead up to the breach of the Peace Circle. This brings us to a point in time where you and Officer Edwards were in close proximity. At this point, I reserve the balance of my time pursuant to 5C, Section 8 of House Resolution 503. The chair recognizes the gentlewoman from Wyoming, Ms. Cheney, for questioning.
All right, put me back on. Put back. That's when Liz Cheney comes on, and then she starts doing some questioning. Now, if you listen to that, first of all, I'm going to say that you and caller's back on. And put the caller down a little bit. It's like it's killing me in the headphones. I'm not sure my headphones are maybe. That's what it was. Okay, so do you understand LARPing? That's called live action role playing. Okay. That's what was going down. That's all it was. I mean, yes, there's truth in jest, right?
Honesty and jest.
There's truth in jest. So yes. Were people very
hyped
passionate about the fact that they were convinced that the election was stolen, and did they go on their leader's accord? You know, he asked them to come, and did they go? Yeah, like as far as like setting it up that way, like it was coordinated as far as that goes. Like a lot of people, like, you know, all throughout the country went to a specific place, on a specific date
at a specific time.
That is true.
Yeah.
But was there evil intention behind it? And was anybody going, we're going to take over the Capitol? No.
No.
No. If
I would
anything,
call it a side effect of the.
If anything, what would have happened would have been, if nothing had happened at all that day at the Capitol, people would have gone out into the streets, and there would have been fighting amongst different groups, right-wing groups,
left-wing, whatever,
and left-wing groups, both violent criminal organizations. Well, not some are not actually. They're really not. They're LARPing to an extent, and sometimes it gets real, and somebody dies, or you know, somebody gets hurt or something like that. You know,
yeah.
But you're gonna shoot your eye out. If you
Oh my God, I shot my eye out. You'll shoot your eye out, kid.
You'll shoot your eye out.
If you play with the BB gun too much.
Such a great movie. Sorry. But yeah.
Okay, your thoughts. Caller?
Yeah.
Your thoughts.
No, I mean, it's all, like you said, on the whole LARP thing. To me, it feels like like they say, a kangaroo court or a kangaroo committee, just to fit the narrative of what they want America to believe in here.
But would you say that that's what was happening with a lot of these groups? Is there some LARPing going on? Or is it completely, like, are they really trying to organize and take down the government?
No one was trying to take down the government or organize or any of that.
Okay.
And it's definitely not. I mean, from what I saw,
LARPing is live action role playing, and that's basically what's going on. You know, people assemble, and it's fun. It's fun to go to a political rally. It's fun to get with your friends and drink beer and, you know, listen to some people speak and things like that. That's what's fun. It was never, I believe, intended anything at all planned whatsoever.
No, absolutely not.
No.
To take down, you know, the government at all. It was LARPing. It was live action role playing. It was going, you know, getting with all your friends and stuff. And the people that wear these protective
costumes and
protective garments, a lot, you know, these protective garments that people wear, tactical gear, it's called. Those are worn for protection from others. That's why they wear it. Because if you remember, Antifa, BLM, all these things were they were tearing up cities, they were burning things down, right? You got to remember, let's paint the narrative properly, shall we? Are they even doing that? Are they giving like a predecessor? Are they telling the story, what happened before this story? Are they giving the lead up to the story?
The only thing, you know, they are doing one thing. I mean, I've been checking that a little bit this time. They like to keep calling them just protesters, and they like to just call them also peaceful
protesters, peaceful protesters. PP.
They're not even classifying some of these people as protesters. They're insurrectionists.
Right. I know.
I've been called thug.
Good luck, dude.
I've been called a thug.
Good luck, bro. You're screwed because they're painting a certain, and people that are asleep and they're not understanding how, you know, society is just to, you know, put together to get your mind off the fact that we're all mortal and we're all going to die someday. That's what we believe. That's what we know is true. You know?
Yep.
So, man, I'm going to say a prayer for you right now, okay? I will pray for you.
I appreciate that.
In the name of the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Dear Lord Jesus, please help this guy, you know, come into his life and not only show him the right way to live, but show all of the people that are going against him, those people trespassing against him, show them the right way to live. And let those people that trespass against him, let this guy forgive them, you know? And then let them realize the error of their ways somehow and stop this witch hunt. And let's do what's good for the country. And let's bring everybody together and not persecute people for trespassing and, you know, going to party in Washington, D.C., which is, you know, totally understandable, God. Anyway, thank you very much for life and amen. And the Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. Bro. So thanks, man. Thank you for jumping on here and giving your 2 cents.
No
I appreciate it.
Anytime.
All right.
Yes, sir. Thank you for putting the story out there. Have a good one. Of course.
Bye. Oh, man. We got all those shirts to print. Transgender Lutheran Bishop resigns over racism allegations. What? You good?
Mm-hmm.
Can I just say this really quick? Los Angeles. An openly transgender cleric from San Francisco who made history last year with an appointment as a bishop by the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America has resigned amid allegations of racism after firing the pastor of a predominantly Latino congregation. The Reverend Megan Rohrer, who uses the pronoun they, led one of the church's 65 synods, overseeing nearly 200 congregations in Northern California and Northern Nevada. They were elected in May 2021 to serve a 6-year term as Bishop of the Sierra Pacific Synod. In a letter to the Synod Saturday, Rohrer said they were resigning because of the constant misinformation, bullying, and harassment they experienced after Synod voted to remove the pastor for Mission Latina Lutheran Rana on December 12th. The Feast of the Virgin of Guadalupe, a significant holiday for the congregants of the Stockton, California church. Rohrer fired the Reverend Nelson Rabel Gonzalez after an investigation by the church into verbal harassment and retaliation allegations against the pastor, all of which he has denied. The Synod Council voted on December 11th to vacate Rabel Gonzalez's call as a mission developer and to terminate his employment after they said he refused to fulfill certain mandatory requirements. Okay. Rohrer was not available to speak with the Associated Press on Tuesday. And she said, trying to rest and be with my family. A spokeswoman for the ELCA declined further comment Tuesday. After Rabel Gonzalez's removal upset members of the Mission Latina Luterana, the Reverend Elizabeth A. Eaton, the denomination's presiding bishop, appointed a 3-person listening panel in March to review Rohrer's actions. I mean, this is just, you know what? I don't even want to read anymore. It's just hurting my brain.
That's what I was talking
I'm
about.
tired
That's
of
what I was talking about last
I'm tired
night.
of bad news. These people are all worshiping the devil.
I don't have I have no argument.
Not
on
to
that.
pass judgment on people, man. You can believe whatever you want to, but everybody's a female pastor there and things, and I don't understand what's going on there. I'm just going to move on. Let's just go into the good news, man.
Good news time.
Thank you. You're a good person, Parker. Thank you for dealing with me, man. I appreciate you. We'll do this as fast as possible because, you know, I don't know, man. We got to get to work and stuff, but I'm not going to put any pressure. We'll be fine. Still within our thing. Like we were talking about before, right? About ordinary time. God exists on silence. And so we're going to go into our first reading. It's from 1 Kings. Chapter 19, that's verse 9a. And then also verse 11 through 16. At the mountain of God, Horeb, Elijah came to a cave where he took shelter. But the word of the Lord came to him, go outside and stand on the mountain before the Lord. The Lord will be passing by. A strong and heavy wind was rending the mountains and crushing rocks before the Lord. But the Lord was not in the wind. After the wind, there was an earthquake. But the Lord was not in the earthquake. After the earthquake, there was fire, but the Lord was not in the fire. After the fire, there was a tiny whispering sound. When he heard this, Elijah did his face in his cloak and went and stood at the entrance of the cave. A voice said to him, Elijah, why are you here? He replied, I have been most zealous for the Lord, the God of hosts. But the children of Israel have forsaken your covenant, torn down your altars, and put your prophets to the sword. I alone am left, and they seek to take my life. The Lord said to him, go, take the road back to the desert near Damascus. When you arrive, you shall anoint Hazael as king of Aram. Then you shall anoint Jehu, son of Nimshi, as king of Israel, and Elisha, son of Shaphat of Abel Mahola, as prophet to succeed you. The word of the Lord. Thanks be to God. That kind of reminds me of that scene from Casino.
Okay.
That, De Niro's character, Ace Rothstein, I think it was Sam Rothstein, right? There's a voiceover that says, no matter how big a guy might be, Nicky would take him on. You beat Nicky with fists, he comes back with a bat. You beat him with a knife, he comes back with a gun. And if you beat him with a gun, you better kill him because he'll keep coming back and back until one of you is dead.
Mm-hmm.
And I just thought of that from that.
Well,
just the way that it's written. The way that it's written.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Written the same style.
Yeah. It's written in the same style. So like he goes out and he tries to find him in the wind and find him in the fire. And He's not any of those places. I don't know. What's the takeaway? The takeaway is stand on the mountain before the Lord.
He's not, and a little bit of maybe like in that silence, you, like you said, you can't, he's not in the fire. He's not where you're looking. He's in just the peace, in the silence.
Oh, yeah.
That's my takeaway.
That's what he meant.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Wow. It's so true, man. And so I think I'm onto something. You just got to do your silent prayer. You do your silent prayer before Mass. Like, get there like 5 minutes before Mass starts. Do your silent prayer. And then right before the Eucharist, when they're preparing the Eucharist and the wine, at that point, when you're down on your knees, you're doing the silent prayer.
Mm-hmm.
You're doing the silent prayer also when you come back after you eat the Eucharist. When you go back and kneel, doing the silent prayer, and you're good. You'll be centered. And then you'll also have stuff that you learn.
That is true. I mean, I'm learning a lot with this. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. So Matthew, this is chapter 5. This is verse 27 through verse 32. All right. And it says, Jesus said to his disciples, "You have heard that it was said, 'You shall not commit adultery.' But I say to you, everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. If your right eye causes you to sin, tear it out and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body thrown into Gehenna. And if your right hand causes you to sin, cut it off and throw it away. It is better for you to lose one of your members than to have your whole body go into Gehenna. It was also said, whoever divorces his wife must give her a bill of divorce. But I say to you, whoever divorces his wife, unless the marriage is unlawful, causes her to commit adultery, and whoever marries a divorced woman commits adultery." The gospel of the Lord. Thanks be to you, Lord Jesus Christ. I think, or thanks be to God, or whatever you're supposed to say.
So, Gehenna, however.
So if you're gonna cut your arm off, it's another thing too. Just it's written the same way as the other thing too.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
yeah,
your eye, your appendage.
Again, what I'm taking from that is to have peace. Again, have that peace.
Yes.
Because you can lose your eye, you can lose your arm, but you don't lose your soul. You're not losing your life.
Right. Nice.
No matter what life is throwing at you, as long as you're at peace, you'll always overcome it.
Hey, I want to tell you that I appreciate because you thought of the message, like you came up with the message and I didn't have it. I just brought the thing here.
Mm-hmm.
I just brought what they said.
Yeah.
But you understood it. And that's great.
I mean, it's, again, I believe that all the things you guys talk about, like the Catholics on whatever day, I forget what it's called, the calendar, how it goes every day.
Mm-hmm.
Every day, it's basically a story.
Yeah.
And the story is trying to elude or get to the point of whatever, there may be, whether it be peace of mind,
whatever the main goal,
yeah.
The main goal of the Mass. Oh, so what that take away what they say it is.
Oh yeah, sorry.
It says everyone who looks at a woman with lust has already committed adultery with her in his heart. That's the main takeaway. I mean, I took more than that out of there, but
out of that reading, I
take different stuff out of there.
Yeah.
But I hear you.
Wait, hold on. Maybe.
But it's not just
you're
that.
not in. You're not when you're looking. When it says that you're looking at the woman that you already committed adultery in your heart, because you're not in peace and happy, grateful for what you already have. Hey.
Chill.
Okay.
Chill. Hey, calm down. Chill. Hey.
Instead of technical difficulties, animal difficulties.
Stop.
It's all right, buddy.
Stop. Chill, bud. Hey, stop.
Thank you for alerting us, but it's okay.
Stop. Hey, stop, dude. Stop.
Come on, buddy.
Chill the fuck out. All right, turn this back on.
Okay.
Chill. Hey.
At least what I'm taking away with the lust part and adultery in your heart, because you're not grateful for what you have yourself. And if you were in that peace, that's where I think like they bring back to like getting in that peace, be happy no matter what.
Stop.
Come on, buddy.
Chill out. We're almost done. Chill. Hey! Turn me off. Stop it! Go the fuck down there now! All right, turn me on. There he goes.
So my takeaway is that if you, with the lust part,
yes,
that when you're looking at another woman, you're not grateful for your own, what you have in your life, what's in front of you, however.
Yeah, that's true.
And then when they then they go talking about after a little bit like the whole losing an eye, losing a.
Oh, yeah.
You should be in the moment, be peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
Because no matter what happens.
And if you don't appreciate it, you could lose her, and then that
everything, and then you could take it that way. Then
you
don't
take that
appreciate
too.
it. You lose her, then you lose your eye, your arm, and
yeah. There's a lot of ways to interpret that, but let's go. All right, so he mentioned something in the homily.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if this is recorded good enough, but he mentioned something about Jimmy Carter. He referenced that last thing about adultery and stuff.
And Jimmy Carter, I would have
at some point, yeah, Jimmy Carter, and I don't know. I guess you could look it up or something. But he mentioned, I heard that he said he referenced it, and then I had hit the recording, so I missed that one part. And then he goes like this.
And they slammed him for it. But actually, Carter was right. It's not that we're to go around in a world of obsessive guilt, but Jesus raises the bar for our humility and to say God's standards are right. You see, when we get addicted into sin, whether it's rage or violence or lust or pride, we tend to say, oh, that's okay, we're all doing it, don't worry about it. And what God says is, no, take this seriously. Don't take it literally, because we'd all be walking around with stumps. But take it seriously. If this is cutting off your spiritual life, stop it. And people would be smug in secular pagan society. You don't bother me, and I won't bother you. Well, listen, if you get angry in traffic, you're liable to the Sanhedrin. Take care of that anger. Tell God you're sorry. And what it is a very big check mark. As Jesus says, my yoke is easy and my burden light. A lot of people have a resentment or thinking, well, a yoke, I don't want to be controlled. Well, if we're sons and daughters of God, we should be acting a certain way. The yoke is easy and the burden is light, because we go by a higher standard. So yes, we may have felt lust in our heart. Yes, we may have felt violence in our heart. But our journey, until we see the Lord and are with Him forever, is to grow in holiness. It is a higher standard. Secular society does not have that standard because it does not have an internal framework of which we live our moral life. Have you no fear of God? That's exactly what the repentant thief said as they were all hanging with Jesus on the cross. Have you no fear of God? Is there not a higher eternal standard? So the Lord tells us that in the Jewish sense with conjugal love, the basic is when you're single, you only think about you, stereotypically. When you are married, it's the highest form of sexual expression. The two become one in the flesh, meaning essentially two become one with all the senses. But when one is married, one does not say it's just about me. No, it's about you and our children. And the same with the lady, she marries a man. It's now about you and our family. It's not just about me. Again, a model of giving and love from God and the Holy Trinity. The Father and the Son exchange love and mutual gifts and begets the Spirit. So even the mutual giving and the surrendering of self is drawn from the Godhead and lived out in earthly experience. And why Jesus isn't so relativistic or light on the horse is because God does not go back on His word.
The hell is that sound all the time? I don't get it. But okay.
Well, I mean, I guess I did look up one thing. I guess he referenced Jimmy Carter in this because he did an interview with Playboy magazine in November 1st, 1976, right before.
What was the deal with that?
They talked about lust. So I get where
nice.
I get where
I know, and so that's awesome. Yeah. So that's the takeaway, basically. Take away this lust today, kind of.
Keep it in check, I guess.
Keep your lust in check.
Also be just be at peace.
And be at peace.
Yeah.
Everything's always be at peace. It's always be at peace.
True.
It's if one part of you wants to do a sin, cut that off.
If you're feeling
interesting how to do the monks, like, did the monks just feel like just mass murdering everybody and just killing everybody in society and just raping, pillaging, and they just go, you know what? I just can't take it. I can't. If I stay here, I'll do a Columbine, basically. But
I think actually on the
instead,
quite opposite,
I'll just become reclusive and shut myself off from everything, like basically losing all the appendages of society.
But by doing that, they're achieving that monkhood, if you would call it, because the monks, I believe, they try to live as close to whoever the monks worship, whether it's in Buddhism, Catholicism, or whatever.
Right.
So the Catholic or Christian monks, whatever it is, they're aiming to be like Jesus.
Yes, I know.
And then, so it's, I guess that's really just be at peace. Even with us, we can achieve that same thing. Possibly.
Yeah, because I was just thinking like, oh man, it's this time and stuff. And I got to remember, I work for myself. We work for ourselves, right? And when it comes down to it, we want to pull a late day and whatever and work however long, that's fine.
Yeah,
we could always decide not to do this one day. We don't have to do the podcast every single day. But I was just kind of like, I'm kind of bringing it back to superstition. I mean, I just like going every day, but maybe one of these days we're just gonna have to do like a really short one or whatever.
You're a creature of habit. It's fine. Most people are.
I saw this one thing before we do the last meditation, then we go for the day because we got to print shirts.
Yeah.
But this was on Joe Rogan's Twitter, and I thought that was interesting because, it's a guy who was born in 1853, and he has childhood in the 1860s, and he's filmed on June 21st, 1932.
Mm-hmm.
Just talking about some life stuff, and I was just like, because we were talking about 2,000 years, man. Jesus, since the story of Jesus, that's nothing. Look at this guy.
65 years ago, about 65 years ago, I came across the ocean from England to the United States, the family settling in Philadelphia. I there attended the public schools and the Boys Central High School eventually, but there was an interval between my attendance of one of the schools. It was not a direct succession. I was forced out of school at 11 to stay out 2 years because the entrance age of the Boys Central High School was 13, and I was only 11. So the problem was what to do with me during the 2 extra years. Well, some of the advisors said, keep him away from books and let him develop physically. I said, if you do that, you might as well kill me now, because I've got to have my books. So they modified the decision into saying, well, you can have them, all right. So I got hold of a book which was called The Magician's Own Book, a book telling of puzzles and tricks and all kinds of little things, chemistry experiments, electrical experiments.
Shows the book. See, it shows the book.
The electrical chapter was what struck me at once, and they told how to make an electrical machine out of a wine bottle. And I immediately set to work and made just such a machine and started it in operation. And I got my first view of electric sparks from that machine, my first knowledge of electricity from that machine. And I made a whole lot of apparatus which is recommended to be made, like Leyden jars and little things of attraction and repulsion, dancing figures and so on, and I had that whole equipment, along with a stool which was made by bottles and the board for making an insulated stool in order to insulate a person that wanted to be charged, and we charged them. With an arrangement of this kind, my father rather poo-pooed the magnitude of my efforts, and I thought I had to get even with him somehow, so I made a battery of 5 jars and put them into operation and asked him to take the shock. I never heard after he took that shock any more derogatory remarks about my apparatus.
Wow. Outstanding. Right?
That's correct. It is
Outstanding. Pow.
Pow. All right, let's do the meditation, then we're going to go.
Mm-hmm. What do you got?
This is the meditation of the day. Freedom from sin, freedom for the good. By St. John Paul II. What is the ultimate source of the inner division of man? His history of sin begins when he is no longer acknowledges the Lord as his creator and himself wishes to be the one, the Lord, the one who determines with complete independence what is good and what is evil. You will be like God, knowing good and what is evil. You will be like God, knowing good and what is evil. You will be like God, knowing, what is it? Knowing good and evil. This was the first temptation, and it is echoed in all the other temptations to which man is more easily inclined to yield as a result of the original fall. But temptations can be overcome, sins can be avoided, because together with the commandments, the Lord gives us the possibility of keeping them. His eyes are on those who fear him, and he knows every deed of man. He has not commanded any one to be ungodly, and he has not given any one permission to sin. Keeping God's law in particular situations can be difficult, extremely difficult, but it is never impossible. This is the constant teaching of the church's tradition. Man always has before him the spiritual horizon of hope, thanks to the help of divine grace. It is in the saving cross of Jesus and the gift of the Holy Spirit and the sacraments which flow forth from the pierced side of the Redeemer that believers find the grace and the strength always to keep God's holy law, even amid the gravest of hardships. As St. Andrew of Crete observes, the law itself was enlivened by grace and made to serve it in a harmonious and fruitful combination. Each element preserved its characteristics without change or confusion. In a divine manner, he turned what could be burdensome and tyrannical into what is easy to bear and a source of freedom. Only in the mystery of Christ's redemption do we discover the concrete possibilities of man. It would be a very serious error to conclude that the church's teaching is essentially only an ideal, which must then be adapted. This is what is at stake, the reality of Christ's redemption. Christ has redeemed us. This means that he has given us the possibility of realizing the entire truth of our being. He has set our freedom free from the domination of, oh my God, how are you going to hit me with the last word? Concupiscence. Concupiscence. Oh my God. I got to look that word up. That's crazy.
Spell it for me.
Okay. It's CON. CUP. ISCENCE.
There are 9 occurrences of concupiscence.
Concupiscence.
In the Bible, and 3 occurrences in King James's Bible.
Is there like any just direct definition of it? So funny. I could actually
definition.
I could actually spell it already, but I just don't know. It's a strong sexual desire, lust.
Another one I have here also says it's the tendency of human to sin.
It says lust. So, all right, you know what? Listen, we're out of here. Thank you guys, right? We got to go.
Yes, we do.
We got to get out of here. It's been real. It has been fun. It has been, I'll dare say it again, outstanding.
Outstanding. Pow!
And I got to go, and so does my buddy here.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to work today.
Fat, enzo.com, fat, bonzo.com, fat, bonzo.
The podcast has ended. Go in peace to love and serve the Lord. And vaya con Dios. Go with God.
And we're out.
set up and crank that shit out, man. We'll just keep doing the same way that we've been doing it.
Outstanding. Pow!